Hey guys, welcome back. I am Soulbash. We are back with some more Paladin Strike. Today I want to talk about the dev talk that the guys did this past week. It's been a couple days, but they did release a video about 2 days ago, and only about 500-600 of you guys have actually seen it, so I want to talk about it. First off, if you haven't seen the video, I'll leave that link down in the description below. It's a 20-minute long podcast of the devs sitting there talking about the game, and I'm kind of gonna break down some things and kind of give you oversight of what they talked about, and I'm gonna kind of go into some of the stuff myself. So let's get into the first thing that they talked about, which is the runes, and that's the main thing I want to talk about to begin with. The runes in this game are currently capped at level 5, and they did come out and say they will double in the current stats once they release out to level 20. So initially you're going to have 5 levels that give you that first bulk of stats, and then those next 15 levels you're going to gain the same amount of stats again, but it's going to be drawn out over those 15 levels instead of 5 levels. So it's going to be a little bit more of a grind, and they say they're doing this to kind of get rid of the pay to win type system, which, and also they did say they were going to change some things about the rune cores, like how you get them. The daily rune chest system, they also said that is changing. So that's what I kind of want to talk about real quick, is the runes. Looking at the runes to begin with, everybody has damage, everybody has max health on every single one of the runes. That is perfectly fine. My only concern with this system currently still is the blue rune. Currently the blue rune has a lot of different effects for it. They have cooldown reduction, movement speed, ult charge rate, critical chance, critical damage, CC duration, and recovery. Those are all the different types of stats that are just different for each champion. My only thing about this is some of these stats seem a bit imbalanced. So for instance, looking at Evie, she only has a 2% cooldown reduction, okay? Fernando has a 2% movement speed. Now these are at level 5 runes. So Victor, he's got a 10% ult charge rate. Now right off the bat, that right there kind of throws a red flag at me. So these first 2 champions, which are Evie and Fernando, they only have 2%, and if you double that, they're only going to have 4% once you max that out at level 20. My concern is the ult charge rate, that going to 20% for Victor and some of these other champions. There's other examples in here. Let me go through and find some, like critical chance. That's capped at 1.5%. So at level 20, these champions that have the critical chance on them, they're going to be maxed at 3% instead of someone else getting a buff of 20%. Now, of course, they are different roles. They do come in different types. Like for instance, the tanks, they have a lot different things as far as recovery, CC duration, things like that. Now, CC duration, what that is if somebody stuns you, if somebody may do something to make you lose control of your character, this is what is going to reduce that time you are stuck in whatever you're hit with, the stun, a fear, anything like that. That is what that is about. Recovery, that is how much you heal for when you're out of combat, and also believe it is how much it actually adds on to a support healing you by a percentage, whatever percentage that is. So at level 20, if we were looking at Makoa, he would have a 30% recovery rate, whereas some of these champions are only going to have like a 4% cooldown reduction or a 4% movement speed boost or something like that. That is my only little argument or concern with the actual system right here, because the fact of, for instance, Androxus, like I said, he's only going to have 3% crit chance at level 20 on these runes. That's something that could possibly be looked at. I don't know if they're going to add stuff further on down the line. Of course, I mean, there's still the legendary cards that used to be in the game. They were called legendaries, but now they are going to be called, I believe, the talents now, because the talents were changed to the name of augments, if that makes any sense to you guys. So those are still not even in the game. They haven't even discussed these, haven't talked about them. I have no insight on this stuff whatsoever. I mean, the devs do send me a message from time to time, but I've never physically sat down and talked to any of these guys. It's only like 4 of the guys in the office in Georgia, and then the rest of the dev team is in China. So I have no idea what's going to change with that further on down the line. Like I did say though, the rune cores, how you get them, it's going to change. I don't know how it's going to change, what they're going to do with it. The daily rune chest system is also changing how we get the runes, so I don't know if they're waiting for this next update or later on down the line once everybody is close to max level at level 5 on the runes, so it's pretty much a fair fight after that. But other than that, in the dev update, they did talk about testing new game modes and things like that. They have different game modes that they've tried internally. And they said they have a lot of ideas, but I have no idea what they're going to release after this. I know Deathmatch just came out a couple weeks ago when they did the last update. That was playable, and like they said in the dev chat, in the alpha version, that's when that was still available. So they knew that worked, but it hasn't been tested and released to a larger audience like what we have now. I have no idea also what type of audience, as far as like how many people are playing. I don't have any statistics on that. It's just up in the air thing. I'm assuming there's minimum 5,000 to 10,000 people actively playing the game every day. That's just my guess. But the other things they also said, which I have no idea who it's gonna be, but they hinted at 2 more champions. They hinted at a new support, and they hinted at a damage. Now, I'm gonna kind of go out on a limb and say that with the Paladins update that they're doing on the 6th, which is in a couple days, that'll be Wednesday of this coming week, they're releasing a new champion called Furia in Paladins, which is a support type champion. And they also gave us a hint that one was going to be a male, one was going to be a female. So I'm possibly assuming that Furia might be one of the champions that they're going to come out with. It may be this week, for the fact that it's releasing on the 6th in Paladins. If they do a joint release on them, do something to link them together, that could be something that Hi-Rez is doing. I have no idea. Like I said, they're the publishers, so they make the decisions on something like that. Other than that, they have a damage champion still. Have no idea who it could be, guys. I could dig up in some files and probably try to do some data mining on the files in this update and the next update when they drop one, to see what they have in there, but it's going to take a little while for that to go through. But other than that, they answered a lot of you guys' questions, and that's a really cool thing to be able to see happen. So what they do in these dev updates, if you don't already know, they make a post on Twitter and on Facebook, and they give you the opportunity to ask them questions. And when they do these dev chats, they take the opportunity to look at these questions, and they will answer them, and they will talk about them. So it gives you a real kind of insight of how they develop things, how things kind of work. It's more of a conversation you really don't hear in the mobile gaming community, which is how things are happening behind the scenes and the kind of their thought processes when they're doing some of this stuff. It's pretty cool. And they did say they were testing and have tested like a fog of war type thing for the map to make things a little bit more interesting. The only hitch there was the optimization part, where, I mean, if the game's not optimal right now without the fog, if you add something more graphically into the game that's going to be more intense on the processes already, which I'm assuming that's what is happening, the fog just would have to be optimized to where it would run great on some of these devices that we're playing on right now. So I would see that's the only issue, but I can see that being pretty fun, because currently, I mean, you can pretty much just move anywhere on the mini map and see exactly where anybody is on the map. So there's no real hiding or anything like that from the enemy team unless you're in a bush. That's the only physical way you can hide from the other team. So that would be a pretty cool feature that they did talk about. But if you guys want to go listen to that, like I said, the link for this video is going to be down in the description below. I believe it's called Dev Chat number 5, and they released it 2 days ago. Go check it out, guys. If you have any questions about what we discussed here, would like to add anything further to it, please do so down in the comment section below. That is going to be it for this video. If you are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn your notifications on, and leave a like on this video, as it does help us out a lot. But with that being said, folks, thank you again for watching. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. I am Soulbash. You guys have a nice day.